4 long years of suffering have finally led us to this moment. It is in fact election day, as you already know, in just a short while, the first round of polls are going to be slamming shut and we're going to be getting results trickling in. Now, if some of the early numbers and some of the stuff that we're going to be going over here very shortly is leading us to believe anything, we might actually get a victor called on the night, and that person right there is going to be responsible for not just making America great again, but making the world great again. But all in due time, because paying attention to the news cycle early this morning, really hasn't been much going on. All things considered, everything has been going relatively smoothly, except for there was one issue. There was one issue in Pennsylvania, in a smaller county. A power outage that was there at a polling station. And then also a gas leak in Michigan. Funny, very consequential states, and ones that are definitely going to come into play and be hot button topics later. But they were relatively inconsequential. Everything else is running relatively smoothly, at least for what I see right now, and I've been paying pretty good attention to this stuff for a majority of the day. So with all that said, we can go back and reminisce how we got to this point, what both sides of the campaigns are doing, and then, of course, look at the final numbers. To just start on maybe something a little bit more entertainment related, what's the general tone and tenor out there right now? Okay, what did working class people think? Well, a lot of them are just keeping their mouth shut and heading to the polls, because that's what we're also seeing out there. But then when it comes to the activist class that are responsible for creating a lot of this division and stealing our escapism, well, the folks over there at Activision Blizzard, they decided that they're gonna have to take the day off and leave early because of election stress, because they know exactly what's coming. So for everybody that's out there thinking that, oh man, no, I'll just, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, that's gonna be good. I gotta support that anyways. It's gonna be fun with friends. You're supporting this type of behavior, and boy, if this is just simply, but a small subsection of what we can expect here later tonight and into tomorrow, this meltdown is gonna make 2016 look like a walk in the park. But as for the people that are actually out there, bro, we're dealing with absolute idiots, because like I've stated before, I've racked my brain time and time again in order to come to a coherent and principled position as to why anybody would vote for Kamala. And outside of the whores get out of jail free card, there's no positions to take. There's no reason to pull the lever Democrat this time around, unless you're just a strict vote blue no matter who, or you're like everybody that they stick in front of a camera. This might be selection biases, but these clips are both from the left, and this is what is supposed to pander to them. And I mean, as Charlie Kirk has pointed out, and he's been very staunch in his messaging throughout the day and saying that, yeah, Trump supporters are turnout's good, it's not great, go and hit the polls. Now, from some of the numbers that are out there, which, again, I can't really verify or anything like that, they're making some braggadocious claims, but Charlie Kirk's small face and gigantic head has a good take this time around by saying that, yeah, play the game like you want to win and you're not trying to lose. All the leads, all the polls that you're seeing out there that is pointing to a favorable direction for your own disposition, those are only theoretical unless people do the work. Because your opposition is rabid. Your opposition will continue this string of bad luck that the country and the world has had for the past 4 years for another 4. And frankly, I don't think we can survive it. Because we gave in to the single issue voters. We gave in to the adults will be back in the room if we just get rid of the contemptuous orange man. And what have we had? Universal suffering. Everything is worse off than it was 4 years ago. And now they want to be rewarded for their bad behavior. Well, they can go straight to hell. And especially when they're trying to campaign on, just let us murder babies. It's like, bro, no, you don't get it this time around, okay?
I did have the pleasure of going to the Kamala rally a couple days ago, and I'm really feeling inspired to protect women's rights and my own body.
And is that the same thinking among your circle of friends, your family? Is that a major issue for folks?
Absolutely, yes. All women's rights, and also just seeing a female leader for the very first time in the U.S. would be amazing.
Yeah, and
yeah, it'd be so fantastic. We should vote for somebody based on their genitalia and then just my ill-informed perception of what women's rights are. No, you just want to protect yourself against poor reproductive choices. You're not smart enough to either take a pill, get an IUD, or have Juan or Daquan wrap it up so you don't get knocked up, you dumb whore. This is what we're dealing with. The single-issue idiots I just want to have my female rights protected. No, you just want to be a whore without any of the repercussions. Call it like it is at this point in time, okay? Or you can be like this soy-filled sack of shit, Jason Fraser. I don't even know, man. Some crying bitch outside of the polls going, I'm just so happy that I could pull the lever for Kamala because the orange man's so bad, and I'm getting a little choked up because, well, I'll let him explain his position.
Who did you vote for today?
I voted for Kamala Harris.
Why is that?
I have 3 daughters, 4 children overall, and women's rights is pretty important to them and my daughters. Sorry, I'm getting a little emotional about that. I didn't think.
Oh my God, I want my daughters to grow up so that they also have the opportunity to get raw dogged in college. That is so important to me. Look at these motherfuckers. It's like, I wouldn't even be surprised if none of those 3 daughters of mine are actually blood related. They were probably conceived while you were sat in a chair in the corner of the room, you fucking cuck. I've had it up to here, man. Like, if you're that fucking brain dead to think that, oh no, he's gonna take away women's rights, he's gonna start plucking tampons out with the tweezers so that they just go back to being barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. Are you that stupid? Are you that stupid not to realize that when Roe v. Wade was overturned, it was bad law? It has always been bad law. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, okay, wrote about how terrible it was. Everybody with a little bit of legal understanding knew that it was only a matter of time before the Supreme Court overturned that. But no. According to mainstream media, it's all Trump. He made this happen. It's going to be my handmaiden's tale because all of these box wine swilling cat moms don't watch any other fucking programming other than Canadian feminist propaganda. Yeah, that's Margaret Atwood, another one of Canada's great fucking exports. But this is the party, and this is the way that they should be treated moving forward. This is the party of killing children. That's all they want. That's their highest moral priority. Because it's not telling the truth. It's not being honest. It's a states' right issue, okay? In Michigan, bro, I wouldn't be surprised if they approved late-term abortions, okay? Like 4th and 5th trimesters type abortions. Ralph Northam type shit. So no, I'm doing the sissy chest hold like, oh my God. Their body, their choice, but he was probably still the same type of cuck that was out there calling the cops on anybody that wasn't wearing a mask when they're out there weeding their front lawn. But they're getting their information from the likes of, Morning Joe Scarborough, who had one of the most spectacular meltdowns. I think this was yesterday morning or something like that. But when you perceive the media, and boy, there's going to be some spicy shit going down over the next 24 hours, I hope, I pray. And when you view their coverage through the lens of a spurned lover, of a girlfriend, or an aspiring girlfriend who got fucked and chucked one night, a lot of this commentary ends up making a tremendous amount of sense because, okay, cool, you got Joe over here. He's gonna go off for about $1.50. We'll see how much we can get through on this until you get the point.
We still have an electorate, 70 million plus, that will be voting for a man who said he was going to assassinate for treason the chairman of the Joint Chiefs because he didn't support him on January the 6th, who said just in recent days he was going to execute Liz Cheney with a firing squad, 9 guns pointed and shooting at her face. A man who is...
Yo, look at stupid Miko over there. He's like, bro, you're not even giving proper context to any of that shit. You're just twisting his words, but he'll go ahead and stick his foot in it towards the end of this statement.
Said that he was going to shut down CBS because he didn't like how they edited an interview. A man who said he was going to be a dictator from day one. A man who said he was going to terminate the Constitution. A man who said he was going to use the Army and he was going to use the National Guard on his political opponents. I could...
See, I would normally just stop every one of those statements and debunk it, but at this point in time, what's the point? What's the point? Anybody who's listening to that stuff is so far indoctrinated, it's not worth my time. It's not worth your guys' time to even spend the moment it would take to add proper context to any of that stuff. They're purposefully twisting words in order to create a narrative where the man is Hitler incarnate. They're stoking the flames of division so that at the end of this election, somebody's going to take another shot at Trump. You better well believe that's going to happen. I don't want it to. Believe me. Bro, go back to the inception of my channel. I can't prove that I was a big Trump guy back in 2016. I have no social media footprint prior to the creation of these channels, but it's all over everything since 2020. I've been down since day one, and I've seen how the media has treated them. And it's like white noise at this point in time. That's why it's really tough to get excited about this. It's really tough to look at any of this nonsense, to hear these lies repeated over and over again and do anything other than go, well, that's nice. Still voting Trump, though.
I literally could go on all day, and yet you talk to Trump voters and they'll go, He didn't say that. Wait, now I didn't hear him. And then you say, well, here's the quote. And then they'll go, yeah, he didn't mean that.
Yeah, when you just took things completely and totally out of context, and then you'll provide the quote completely and totally out of context. He said the words, and yeah, if you arrange the words in the United States Constitution, it does look like a page straight out of Mein Kampf. Like, these are the propagandists that realize that their influence, their waning influence, their dying influences. This is a media. This is an institution in its death throes. Treat it as such. Put it out of its fucking misery.
So there's something far more long-lasting than just Donald Trump, the candidate. There is a sort of Russian embrace of disinformation.
Russian embrace. They're so stupid, right? Like, we already know because they're just blatantly lying about quotes and shit like that. But no, the fact that they continue to just trot out the same old shit that they've been running for about a decade at this point in time, bro, we're not dealing with smart people. Treat them as such.
A radical devaluing of truth.
Oh, bro, that's about all I can take. Okay, seriously. Okay, a radical disvaluing of truth. It's all projection from these hacks. Every single one of them. And it's funny, right? Because on the day, obviously, I got my Trump hat, but I needed a new book. I just finished reading Letters of a Stoic from Seneca, right? Like, not to be as pretentious or anything like that. So I was looking through my little aspiring library over there to pick out a tome to read. And it just so happened on the day, fuck, I'll just go ahead and grab it. I mean, yeah, you got to refresh yourself at time to time when it comes to certain things. And I think, The Art of the Deal, my third read through of that, is a fairly important and has also led some interesting insight, because the first chapter, he runs through the day in the life, a week in the life of being Trump back in 1987. And during that time, he was working on constructing, Television City down there in New York, and specifically working hand in glove with NBC. And you wonder why, okay? They feel so spurned. They're his loudest critics, because as bad as CNN is, every once in a while they can go ahead and do something that could be vaguely conceived as journalism. But when it comes to MSNBC and NBC proper, bro, they are the most verbose in their insanity. And, well, you got goofy-ass Joy Reid, and, well, I would subject you to Morning Joe. I won't do that to you, okay? I don't want you to put in, or rather be subjected to, the idiotic reincarnation of Michael Clark Duncan. I'll just go ahead and give you the highlights, care of Colin Rugg. MSNBC host that Joy Reid says the media has said all they can to help Kamala Harris before doing, the whole segment on how Trump is like Hitler and Mussolini. Yeah, see, we walked you to the finish line, and your drunken box wine enthusiast ass fell backwards instead of forward. What the fuck else can we do for you? The propagandist compared Trump to every historical dictator she could think of in a bizarre meltdown. And we begin our final sprint, having arrived at the point in the election season where basically we, on the side of the TV screen, have said all we can. We've laid out all the stakes in this crucial election. From one side stands for freedom, while the other meets the textbook definition of fascism. I agree. We've just arrived at completely different conclusions, namely a far-right dictatorial regime like Hitler's Germany. Yes, because he was in charge of the National Socialist Party. Right. Or Franco's Spain, Mussolini. Oh, right. The father of fascism. The guy who wrote about the natural evolution of socialism. Right, fantastic. But also white-ruled South Africa before Mandela and a black majority took control. And how well is that working out for everybody? Vladimir Putin's Russia, Viktor Orban's Hungary. And yeah, this is just a preview of what's to come, obviously. And then, of course, Rachel Maddow going completely and totally mask off, because win or lose when it comes to Trump, the media and the establishment are going to be coming down hard on him. But also because Elon Musk is so in the tank in regards to Trump, he knows that he probably has the second biggest bullseye on his back. At least that's what he said in the Joe Rogan interview. But more on that, and especially the response to a move from Joe Rogan. But here, saved you from Joy Reid. I can't save you from Maddow, though.
But even if Trump doesn't win, the Defense Department and NASA are going to need a new arrangement for all their rockets and for all the multi-billion-dollar contracts Elon Musk's companies have with the U.S. government. The U.S. government is going to have to either, unwind from all of those contracts, or Elon Musk's companies are going to have to unwind from him. This is an untenable reality.
Oh, cool. We need to go ahead and seize the means of production, comrade. Great stuff that you have right there, Rachel. And that just shows the contempt that they have for anybody that steps out of line, because you remember, not that long ago, Elon Musk was the darling of the left, but the moment that he woke up and realized that, ooh, you guys are freaks, is the moment that they turned on him so spectacularly. And it's amazing, right? Like, it's why, at this point in time, paying these people no mind is even too much than what they deserve. It's because we've heard what you boo for just about, if not a decade at this point in time. By the end of this next glorious regime of the, let's see if I got it right, okay, the 47th president of the United States, it will be 12 goddamn years of you guys spurging out at the top of your lungs. We know what you boo. So when you cheer something, we know why you do it, and it's obvious that everyday people shouldn't be doing it, because you have the likes of Kamala, right? Now we're just going to go ahead and pivot over to what the queen that never was doing a little bit earlier today. Faking phone calls, bro. Like, what the fuck are we doing out here, bro? Like, yeah. Okay, hi, I can see, yeah, okay, it's very low, but it doesn't really matter because we're just all waiting for one screenshot because, you know, she's listening theoretically and then shows that she was just on camera mode because she's a blithering fucking idiot. Kamala just pretended to call a voter, but then accidentally showed her screen. She was on the camera app. Yep, not even the most cringe thing that she's done in the past 24 hours. Like Kamala door knocking. Has she ever met another human being before in her life? This is painfully awkward. And there was another video, which I don't have right now, but I've seen it before, where it's like, okay, cool. They were trying to stage this organic meeting of Kamala going door to door, but they met the couple in this very white, very affluent neighborhood. It's funny how they want to do that there, but then they also want to say, oh, we here for you people. I come from the hood. You never want to go and do door knockings on places that have bars over the windows. Very strange. But yeah, met the couple outside and then asked them to step back in so that they could stage this whole, oh, surprise, it's the vice president coming to your house to set up a sign. But this one right here, oh boy, this, brace yourself. It's pretty cringe. And just like those times when Montel made you wait outside. Why do they all look like that? No, quiet, Kamala. You're supposed to be talking English.
Very nice to meet you. So, how's it going? It's the day before the election, but I just wanted to come by and say I hope to earn your vote.
Yeah, because this looks really well lit and everything like that, because you can see the boom mic and the lights in the background. It's like, oh yeah, cool. What a fucking plastic individual, and we're supposed to be enthusiastic to vote for that. I would love to have a competent Democrat to also be on the ticket so we could have a legitimate exchange of ideas, but we haven't had that in a very, very, very long time. No, instead we have somebody who, well, does this yesterday because, yeah, well, Trump was out there, you know, running the gamut, going from Pennsylvania. He had a couple of stops. I think in PA, he was down in Georgia earlier in the day, but bro, he was making the rounds a couple of different times over, ending his night at like 2 o'clock in the morning in Michigan. I watched a lot of that rally coverage on the day, and by the end of the day, it's like, okay, the fact that he's been up there talking for at least 8 hours in the day, 4 different rallies, it's like, that's a lot. That's a lot for a young, healthy man, let alone a 78-year-old man who's at the tail end of a months-long campaign trail. But then you have Kamala out here, you know, in Scranton, Pennsylvania, sans Joe Biden, who's apparently, and that's another bit of news on the day, not supposed to be with Kamala at Howard University, her alma mater, where she's going to be having her watch party. Joe's not going to be showing up, nor did he show up in Scranton, PA. Very strange bedfellows that they find themselves with at this point in time. No. I guess Joe thinks, okay, I guess the way that you could spin this is Joe thinks that she has it in the bag because she not only has a control of the wider American people, but when they see her in person, they get to know Kamala, and then they start to love Kamala. I mean, just listen to this response.
Thank you. Let's vote. Let's get out the 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 vote.
That's like the Ralph Wiggum clip. It's like, okay, right there you can hear her heart break because you can immediately hear the pitch change, right? Okay, when she's starting to try to get one of the worst chants ever going. It's like, bro, if you want to get a crowd to go along with you on something, you need to be short. It needs to be snappy. Okay, they can obviously chant 3 syllables. Kamala, Kamala. Let's get out the vote. Doesn't really have the same ring to it, and that was your spur of the moment. I got them in my palm in the hand, or I've got them in the palm of my hand reaction, and that's what you end up getting. Like, just listen when she figures out, oh, this isn't working, I'm just gonna have to ride this out for a little bit longer, boy.
Oh, let's get out the vote. Let's get out the vote. Let's get out the vote. Let's get out the vote.
Oh no, let's get out the vote. Oh God. I wonder if she even realizes how much of a disaster she is at this point, and that instead she needs to hand her campaigning abilities off to the more capable hands of Oprah Winfrey, right? Where Oprah says if Trump wins, it is entirely possible that we will never have the opportunity to cast a ballot again. Once again, projection, even from the surrogates. It's funny because there was rumors that Cardi B was supposed, or not Cardi B, she spoke a couple of days ago with one of the dumbest and most inane speeches ever. Like, listen, that thing's been memed to hell and back, and there was a really funny video that I had there where they just kind of gave her a retard accent, so it didn't really sound all that dissimilar from Cardi B's actual speech. Well, you know, the one that she had to read off of her phone because she's such an ardent Democrat supporter, the one the teleprompter broke. She couldn't quite figure out the words. She couldn't quite articulate her love for the Kamala Harris campaign, that she had to have a speech delivered to her on stage. Bro, for the amount of zeros that were very likely on that check for you to appear there, you couldn't even memorize a 4-minute diatribe. Bro, that's pathetic. Almost as pathetic as, you know, the Trump War Room tweeting this out. Not their tweet here. Just Kamala Harris departs Pittsburgh after a speech that lasted 9 minutes and 24 seconds. 9 minutes, 24 seconds. Like I said, I watched a lot of Trump coverage yesterday, okay? And you can even hear the after effects this morning when, you know, he was also interviewed when he was casting his ballot in West Palm Beach. It's like he was still a little bit hoarse, but hopefully by tonight when he does his acceptance speech, when he does his victory address as the president-elect, he will have recovered. But he was out there speaking, like I said, like 8 hours yesterday, and Kamala probably did it combined half an hour. It's like none of her speeches and everything else, and her just, yeah, like, oh God, I need to get home, and I think they know it's Jover, dude. It's Biden. It's a wrap. Especially because, yeah, this late stage announcement that Trump found out, yeah, when he was on stage in Pittsburgh. I think he was in Pittsburgh. I can't remember. But regardless, he got the news when, yeah, Joe Rogan tweeted out the Elon Musk interview that dropped the day before the election, and I had the opportunity to listen through all of it, and it was quite good. Elon Musk is super passionate, super pro-MAGA at this point in time in a way in which I never conceived possible. But I'm not going to be one of those guys that go out there and suck him dry just because he has a couple of good takes every now and again. I think that, yeah, obviously Elon Musk, he's a bit of a smart guy. I know a groundbreaking revelation there, but I don't really think he moves the needle as much as a lot of people want him to, especially in the response to a lot of this stuff. You can see the opposition, they just simply lump all of them together in one basket and toss them out completely. You're close enough to Trump, you're basically spawn of the orange man. Therefore, we don't have to pay attention to you. And now you can add Joe Rogan to that list because, yeah, he tweeted out that, yeah, the Elon Musk interview is now live. And, well, I'll just read the statement because, well, I don't think, and I think it's a little bit cowardly to wait until the eve of the election because it's not going to sway anybody, and anybody with, I don't know, a set of ears. And it was funny, right? Like when I was listening to that interview, one of the top comments that came scrolling up on YouTube was, I've listened to Joe Rogan more in the past few days than I have in the last 6 months. That kind of lets you know what the average person does when it comes to Rogan. When there's a popular guest that's on there, yeah, they'll check him out. But in general, he's not the tastemaker that the media thinks that he is. Because, bro, when this thing popped yesterday, holy shit! If you want to talk about something being an October, in this case November surprise, that's the way that the media treated the tacit Joe Rogan endorsement, which it was, as he was pointing out. Yes, for the record, yes, that's an endorsement of Trump. He said in about a paragraph introducing the episode that he reposted on Twitter. So no, it wasn't like a standalone video. It wasn't a bold statement of, like, you know, slapping on a MAGA hat and saying anything against the other candidate, which I wouldn't expect him to, nor would I want him to. There's reasons that you can support Trump that are irrelevant of Kamala. Can't quite say the same about the flip reverse position, but to me and to a lot of people, it's like, yeah, if you've listened to Rogan, you know that he wasn't going to be supporting the insanity of Kamala Harris. There's no way in hell. And during that, Elon Musk interview, it became incredibly obvious his current political leanings. And so for everyday listeners, for ardent Joe Rogan supporters, they were never going to vote for Kamala anyways. They were more than likely going to be voting for Trump anyways, especially after the 45, just about 46 million view interview. It's the second most popular interview that Joe Rogan has ever done on YouTube. Like, it's absolutely wild, and I'm sure if you factor in the Spotify numbers, it's well over 100 million views. And Musk and Rogan also pointed out, between the two of them reposting it on X, it has over 100 million views on it there. So yeah, take that for whatever you want, because who knows exactly what a view is on X, Twitter. Could be scrolling by, could be listening for a minute, it could be listening to the totality of it. But yeah, the reason that the media is freaking out is because they realize that somebody else out there has a bigger reach, and they're more perceived to be influential than they could ever be, and could ever claw back in relevance. And this is also leading to the big spurg out, something that I referenced a little bit earlier, but something that I can't really find any evidence of, and until we start to get results coming in, I can't verify one way or another. For the first time in history, Republicans are ahead in the early vote. That's in person and mail-in ballot. They're ahead in Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, and Nevada. And there's also some rumblings that they're also wildly ahead in New York and New Jersey, of all places. Again, can't verify that, and those polls are going to be closing soon-ish. So if we see anything funny there, I'll be running it back here tomorrow, because I want to do a results stream in the aftermath. And it's just today. I wanted to make this a stream, but frankly, bro, I'm just keeping it together. I was this close. To just calling it off, making it a post. But then, of course, kind of seeing the Maga hat, and it's like, do I call it a day, or do I stand up and voice my appreciation and support for somebody who got shot in the head? Yeah, I think I can limp my way through a video where I have to stop and collect myself from falling over. I think I can do that, because god damn it, Trump has been through so much, and my life was tangibly better 4 years ago. Yeah, we can fucking get this done. But let's make this the case. Okay, I want to see this again, because I remember this on the night. Like I said, I don't have any proof that I was watching or I was a Trump supporter at the time, but I remember specifically where I was. I was watching Anthony Cumia and Nick DiPaolo break this stuff down. They brought this video up on screen, and they started laughing hysterically, because I was down there at the Javits Center when they were panning across the crowd, and there were so many sullen faces, tears in eyes of people that were completely and totally befuddled. What, she was supposed to win? 95% chance. What happened? Their worldview was shattered, and they have never recovered from it at all. I want to see this. I want to see this on meth, on steroids, every other hack example you can possibly think of coming down tonight. I want to see lives just completely turned on upside their head. It's a point in time where now I'm not looking for like individual retribution. I'm just looking for a complete and total disregard from any of these freaks' opinions, because no offense to the kid, it's like, why are you taking them to a political rally, and why are they that invested in something like that? Because it doesn't directly affect their life. It, I guess, directly reflects their single mother, or their mother and their stepfather's lives. But in general, it's like, you guys got what you wanted for 4 years, and everything fucking sucks. How about not giving the power back to mentally unstable freaks? I was upset. I was big upset in 2020 after all of the shenanigans went down, and it's weird, right? Because back in 2016, I was oddly enthusiastic about the potential of a Trump victory, and then when it happened, I was smiling ear to ear for multiple days on end. It was fantastic. It was glorious, and that's why I thought, with the winds of change blowing as they had over those subsequent 4 years, culminating in 2020, it's like all signs point to a second Trump victory. And then, of course, 2020 happened. I don't forget. You haven't forgotten, and a big reason that shit like that ended up happening is because of a lack of poll watchers and a lack of transparency. But this time around, there's a different RNC in charge. There is no Ronna Romney McDaniel. There's a Lara Trump in charge. and she's bringing out 100,000 poll watchers, 500 lawyers for tomorrow's election, not to rig it in Trump's direction. I don't want that. You don't want that. We want too big to rig. We want clear and decisive electoral college victory. We even want a popular victory vote, which is what a lot of people are looking towards, because I want to run down these numbers here real quick and show you that, final polls that are out there, Atlas Intel, okay, the most accurate pollster, and the one that I showed, I think that was yesterday, right, where you have, Trump up by 1 in the national popular, which is absolutely crazy. And then just with the aggregate right there, it's well within the margin of error, 0.1. And comparing and contrast that, with Biden at 7.2 in 2020 and Clinton at 3.2 with 2016 somehow ending up being closer than 2020. I think we know exactly what time it is, okay? And then just to take a look at the swing states, because Arizona, bro, it's like that shouldn't even be categorized as a swing state. As long as everything is on the up and up and Maricopa County knows how to properly track their ballots this time around. Atlas Intel has them up by 5. Trafalgar has them up by 2. Rasmussen up by 2. We know what time it is over there. But the interesting ones that are going to be on the ballot, like Pennsylvania, hearing a lot of stuff out of Pennsylvania, but a lot of it's also very, very positive. Very positive. So I'm going to be paying attention to Pennsylvania. There are a couple of states, right? Like we could go through all of the toss-ups, but I think this ultimate electoral map, the states to really be watching, obviously, the way that they have it called right now with a bunch of different outliers. The fact that they only have Florida leaning Trump, it's like, bro, like what are we dealing with right here? Trump is, +8 in Florida, real clear average. Oh, you got Ohio leaning Trump. Bro, up by 9.3. Remember, Trump won Ohio by, what was that, 9? 8.2. And then Iowa, right? Like, the fact that that's also leaning, and leaning with Texas, bro. What are we doing out here? What are we doing out here? But this just goes to show you how everything is just simply narrowing as we get to the end of the day. Narrowing as we get closer to the polls closing. But I look back, right? Because 2020, remember what the map looks like. But I remember 2016. I remember all of the results coming in. And I think, truly, we're in for something that doesn't look too terribly dissimilar from that. In fact, you could just add about 10 points to that one. You could end up with a cool 316. What? All things considered, because Nevada looks to be getting very much, okay, you might be able to see it over there, but Trump is up in 2024 by 0.6, okay, 0.6, and I think that that's very much in play and could very much end up going in Trump's direction right there. New Mexico, if you recall, it was on that list of lawsuits in 2020 for some funny stuff going on, because there were some certain results that were heading in that direction. So I think that Nevada, you can probably add that to the list right there. So we're already sitting on 312. New Hampshire's interesting, right? Because, 4 points doesn't really mean all that much. Well, New Hampshire has been flirting since 2016 with a full-on Trump embrace. Could it be this time where it tips the scales? Sure appears to be that way. And then there's a couple of outlier states. Like I said before, there's some interesting stuff coming out of New York and New Jersey. I don't really know what to do with that stuff, because it is, in fact, very, very much unverified. But especially in recent days, hearing some rumblings out of Virginia, that would be interesting. I would go ahead and pump the brakes, just like I would be when it comes to calling New Mexico, because New Mexico's probably going to become a little bit more purple because they're also fed up with illegal immigration. But Virginia is like outside of Northern Virginia. It's a very, very red state. But everybody who works in D.C., well, they live in Northern Virginia, so that's going to be a gigantic hurdle to overcome, and especially the way that Trump and his supposed administration, or his theoretical administration, is looking, it could be very, very tough for people to go ahead and vote against their own best interest, to bet against their own employment status. So I'll be paying attention to that. Those will be very interesting. But I'm to just simply follow along and create my own map right here. As you can see, they just went ahead and did no toss-ups or anything like that. I don't think that this looks, I really don't think that that looks too terribly dissimilar from what I'd call, except for hearing some stuff about Michigan, I would say leans Republican. Wisconsin, that's also an interesting one as well. But outside of that, everything looks to be on the up and up. And then a potential 4 out of New Hampshire. If we see anything else outside of that, because I've seen some wild prognostications, like out of the 4 possible outcomes when it comes to the election, either a Trump landslide, Trump close victory, Harris landslide, or a Harris close victory. There's one of those three that doesn't seem likely at all. A Harris landslide, I don't think anybody's calling that, okay? Like, I don't look at any of the results from any of the polls that are out there that points me in the direction that, you know what, the underrepresentation in the polling leads me to believe that Kamala Harris is actually, you know, like secretly very popular. There's nothing like that that's out there at all whatsoever. She could win it in a squeaker if this ends up getting drug out for multiple days, or there could be a Trump victory that is strung out over multiple days as they try to find the right amount of ballots, or this could just simply be this scenario right here, maybe with a Virginia, okay, which would be absolutely ridiculous, maybe with a New Mexico, which would be very ridiculous, and that would be about as close as you could get to anything that would end up representing a landslide that you got in '84 with Reagan Mondale. You're not going to get that stuff anymore. The left coast is going to be the left coast for a very, very, very long time. Colorado loves its weed, and Minnesota, well, they're about the only people that can actually lay claim to goofy-ass Tim Walz, so why would you expect them to change? But everything else, I mean, it'll be interesting, and we'll be taking a look at that once more of the numbers come out, where everything's leaning this time around, because some of those early numbers, they're inspiring if that ends up being the case. But to be completely honest, man, we're seeing a lot of stuff narrowing, as it always tends to do in the days leading up to the election. But in all, we have to wait for the firm numbers, and hopefully it's just the firm numbers and not some additional firm numbers in the middle of the night. So wherever you're going to be watching your election coverage, I hope you have a very fun night. Hopefully it's also a very positive night, and hopefully it's a very productive night, because we want to see some Democrats crying. We want to see some MAGA hats flying, and we want to see Donald Trump become the 47th president of the United States of America. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.